my friends, and welcome back to the Time to Level Up podcast. I'm thrilled to have you back on probably what might be a cold, wintry day at your house. But fear not, we are going to talk about money today. And I want to share with you a little statistic. A little statistic is that if I look at all 164, I think, episodes of my podcast, and I break them into topic categories, the ones that have the least listenership are ones about money. But yet, in my coaching practice, what is a topic that comes up over and over and over again? Money. So it's interesting that we don't want to listen to information about money. We don't really even want to talk about money, but we want to worry about money. So if you are someone who worries about money, this episode will hopefully help with that. And I also hope it will help you see how I integrate money mindset and money systems into my coaching programs. Because today I am interviewing Nicole Cooley, who is one of the money confidence coaches on my team. She also has her own business, but she is someone who really takes a holistic approach to money that combines the numbers with what you value, your beliefs, and your dreams. So she's got a background in corporate finance, but she also has a background in understanding and guiding people through money mindset. Because she really believes, alongside what I believe, when women are confident and empowered by their finances, anything is possible. Did I tell you when I started out coaching, I called myself a possibilities coach? And that kind of plays right into it. When we are confident and empowered by our finances, anything is possible. And she, along with the other coaches in my program who work with my clients on money, show you how to do that by using YNAB, You Need a Budget, as a system, and then their expertise in the money mindset to help fuel the system to get you what you want. So sit back, buckle up, and listen into my conversation with Nicole, because I think you're going to find it extremely interesting, and you may even be able to identify or relate to some of what she's saying. She might be talking about you. Hey, my friends, welcome back to the Time to Level Up podcast. I am so happy you're here. And today, here's an interesting little fact I'm going to share with you. If I go back and look at all of the 150-ish episodes of my podcast that I have recorded at least a handful, if not more, about money. And if I do some statistics and look at listenership of each episode, the ones that have to do with money get the least number of listens. But yet, in my coaching practice, money is probably the number one topic, maybe not the number one, but it's in the top 3 topics that comes up when we're talking about running your business, being a great business owner, how to manage your business, all the things. So I'm going to continue, even if you don't want to listen, I'm going to continue to put out some podcasts about cash flow, money, budgeting, profit, loss, revenue, all the things. What does it all mean? And today I wanted to bring on one of my You Need a Budget coaches. So as part of all of my coaching programs, regardless of which one you're in, there's always a component that I include that has to do with money. And I'm a big advocate of a software called You Need a Budget, which helps you. It's not QuickBooks. It's not super CPA friendly, but what it does is it helps you make decisions about how to run your business based off of the numbers. It helps give you that security and confidence it helps you know what's really going on. So I have with me today Nicole, who works with some of my clients on such topics. And I invited her on so we can just have kind of a conversation about what she observes, what she thinks is most helpful, what you should know and what you shouldn't know, and all the things. So Nicole, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I'm happy you're here. Nicole's, we're recording this. It's 6:30 in the morning, Nicole's time. It's 9:30 in the morning, my time, but we both have our coffee. So we're good.
We've got our coffee. We're ready to go.
We're good. We're good. All right. So Nicole, introduce yourself. Tell the listeners, who are you?
Yeah. So I'm a money coach. My background is in finance. That was my education. I spent about 10 years in the corporate world in corporate banking and insurance, and then kind of got myself into some financial pickles in my 20s, as many of us do. And I was like, I know all the things. Like, I have this education. How did I get myself into some of these messes? And I kind of set on a path of discovery and learned more about behavioral finance and money mindset and these pieces that you're not taught in school. And I became really interested in putting together the pieces, the educational pieces that we all, I think, should know with the behavioral piece, and putting those two pieces together. And that's when I became a coach. And so I've coached on the personal finance side, which I love, but then, in the last few years have really been doing a lot of coaching for small business owners, because understanding their numbers and their cash flow is just such a big pain point. So I'm also AFC certified and YNAB certified coach, which are just different financial coaching designations that I think are important in the industry.
Yes, people need to know their numbers, right?
Yeah.
Personal and business. I think so. Something I find is once someone does become a business owner, they also have all of a sudden their interest is heightened in their personal finances too.
Yeah.
It's like it brings awareness to the table. It's not just like going on, just right. Oh, there's enough money in the bank. All of a sudden they become more interested in that aspect too. So that's sort of interesting. What do you think, maybe if we could identify, what do you think the top three pain points are for business owners? Like, what do they want to know, but they don't know and is painful?
Yeah, I think that maybe the first one is this idea that I'm not good with numbers. And I don't believe that's true in almost all cases. It's just that you haven't had a class, you haven't been taught. So how would you know? Right. And I think with the right education, and it usually just takes like a little bit, you can start to read and understand, the numbers that you have, and learn what they're telling you, and realize that as a business owner, you kind of have to be a numbers person, but it doesn't have to be scary.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be scary. I think when I hear that all the time, I'm just not good with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think like, well, were you good riding a bike before you practiced and learned? Like, no, right? So why would you be? So you got to give yourself a little grace. Then though, I'm not good with numbers thinking. I think so now let's say they start to get some knowledge. Then all of a sudden they start to recognize and realize what's going on. And it kind of freaks them out a little bit sometimes, but not all the time. And then I think in order to get good at numbers, you do have to practice, we'll call it, right? Like you've got to stay on top of it. And I see in my coaching practice, then sometimes there's fear because now they know what they know. And now there's fear to go back and keep, quote unquote, practicing. So what do you think practicing really looks like? What would you say?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think it ties into number 2, which I think is a big pain point of just having messy systems in place.
Yep.
And you do have to engage with this on a regular basis. It's not a one and done. And I think that's a hard pill for people to swallow. They want to kind of get in, look at their numbers, and then they're done for 6 months. And it's really this ongoing thing that they need to be looking at. And even like, there's not one metric that's going to answer your questions. There's not one way of looking at it. It's going to be different for everyone. And I think what I try and do is teach, here's some different ways to look at it. And then ultimately you have to decide as the business owner, what's going to be right for your business. And I think that feels harder than like ticking a box. And so the habits, there can be habits that with your numbers that feel a little bit like bookkeeping. And so it can feel kind of like useless work kind of, but you have to do that in order to do the analysis, is what I always say. You have to have clean data in order to make good strategic decisions off of the data. And sometimes the data is a bit of not fun work that we have to do in our business. And it just is what it is. And so, creating those habits to get through the not fun part of numbers, which even I admit is there, is a really big hurdle in order to get to the part where you see why you're doing it and you can make and understand the numbers and be able to make these strategic decisions off of them.
So, okay, I'm going to relate this to something I was talking about yesterday with some clients. So we were talking about goals, and someone said, okay, in 2024, I want to really understand, this is a low word I hear, understand my numbers and feel confident that I know what's going on. Okay. So that was sort of the goal. It's not a great goal written. It's not written out the way I'd like it to be written out, but that's a whole different podcast or topic. You can listen to a podcast on writing out goals, smarter goals. But anyway, so I want to know my numbers. I want to understand it. So I would call that like an achievement goal. All right. But habit goals or habits are what fuel the achievements. So it does have to become somewhat of a habit or a system, right? In looking at them based on two aspects. One, a time, like you need to do it regularly. You need to set a time to do it. But you also then need to have a process that you go through. It's not like you just open up the software and it pops on out at you. What are you going to do first, second, and third when you look at it? So I do think that it is not a one and done. And sometimes people wish it was, but guess what? Most things in life aren't one and done. Right?
Yeah. I always say like if you can get to the point where you understand that it's working, and you see what it can do for you, then you can get addicted to it because it feels so good. And then that helps fuel your motivation to kind of continue it from that point. Yep. But there is this part at first where you feel like you're just kind of, I call it slogging through the mud. I'm like, you're almost there. Cause I can kind of tell when someone's almost there and, to see that turning point of where it's all going to click together. And then be like, just stick with me, keep slogging through the mud, right? And sometimes people need that accountability because they just want to throw in the towel when they're so close to seeing the results.
Right. Or they want someone else to do it, right?
Yeah. And that's a big piece of what we teach. Like, we can talk about the difference between YNAB and bookkeeping, but I believe bookkeeping can be outsourced. But when you're managing your cash flow, that cannot be because you're combining your knowledge as the business owner that only you have with the numbers that you're seeing on the screen. And so if you're only relying on data that you're getting from something outsourced like bookkeeping and you're not doing the cash flow piece or you're trying to outsource that, it's not useful to you because only you know what's in your brain as the CEO of your business.
Right. Only you know what you're thinking about spending money on, or only you know, are you okay with the fact that you spent $5,000 on something? Like the bookkeeper doesn't know that.
Exactly.
Right?
You know, if it's a one-time expense, if you're saving up to hire a new employee, if you have a big order or equipment purchase around the corner that you need to be thinking about. That's all on you. Yeah.
Yes, it totally is all on you. That's a great way to explain it because I sometimes struggle with explaining why. Yeah, you can. I mean, I say go have a bookkeeper. Like I'm in on the bookkeeper thing. Like do it. Do it. Like you can outsource that piece. They can keep track of that. Fine. But the cash flow management and decision making around it, only you can do. That's so true. So true. All right. What do you think a third pain point is? So we've got pain point. Now I got to refresh my memory. Pain point number 2 is
I'm not
practice.
good with numbers.
Number 1 is I'm not good with numbers.
Then, the systems are messy is number 2. Yep. And then I think that number 3 is just maybe harnessing the confidence. Because I feel like I'm, as a coach, like I'm part teaching them how to do this, but part, coaching them along the process too. And I was just talking with someone yesterday and I'm like, more than you think you do. More than you think you do. Yeah. And just giving them that confidence to make, like we talked about, you can't just look at one metric, you have to look at 3 or 4 and then make an interpretation based on those if you're trying to make a decision in your business. And just, helping people get the confidence to do that, I think is really important because there's that mindset piece of kind of shutting down when it comes to this stuff, even if you've made really good process, even if you know some of your key metrics, you can still struggle with that mindset piece. So it's important to consider that as well.
I think I'm sure they're asking you this too. Can I afford to hire a new employee? Can I afford to lease an office space? Can I afford kind of thing? And I think I wish there was too. We as business owners, we wish there was like a little switch that went on. Yes, no, yes, you can afford it. But there is no such switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is kind of looking at a compilation of 3 or 4 things to make that decision. I guess the other thing that I always think about is you can afford anything you want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just a matter of looking at things differently or considering that like you could grow. They always think about what do I need to cut out so that I can afford it. They're not considering there's growth opportunity there either.
Sometimes on the personal or business side, when I get in and dig through numbers and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, revenue is the issue, right? Like you can streamline this all you want, but sometimes the answer is in more income, right?
Right.
There's only so much cutting back you can do. And sometimes I think there's a lot of relief that comes with that answer because people feel like they're doing something wrong. I must be spending too much money. I must be this or that. And it's like, no, sometimes just going and making more money is like the best thing you can focus on, not, cutting back on your subscriptions or something,
right.
That isn't going to move the dial as much for you.
Right. Like let's say you're outsourcing your social media and you're paying for that. And I'm always like, does that help you? Do you like that? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, we're not going to cut that. Even coaching, sometimes I always often hear like, that's the biggest expense I have or whatever. Okay. Yeah. But what's happened since you've engaged in coaching? What's gone on? Anything good? Yes. Okay. Well, then maybe we shouldn't cut that.
I think it's putting a metric to it. It's understanding the ROI on those, the return on investment on those things. Is your marketing bringing you new clients? How many is it bringing you? You should be keeping an eye on that. And same with coaching. There's a little more of an intangible aspect to that, but people know, they have that gut feel if the investment has felt worth it to them or not in their business. So,
So it's not always about cutting things. It's income. Let's go make some more. Let's do it. Right.
And I think it's also about your values as a business owner or on the personal side, right? Because someone might be, they want to be not working in the business as much. And so their first priority is hiring. Whereas someone else might have a totally, different set of priorities and they're investing in marketing right now. I don't know, whatever it is. You could just have totally different priorities, same business style or same business type. So it's
totally true. And which kind of goes back to only you as the business owner know. Your bookkeeper doesn't know that. No one knows that. Only you know what your priorities are. Now, I find that a lot of times when when I've got a coaching client that's in the beginning stages of their business, they don't want to outsource things. They want to be doing all the things, which is fine. But then when they get to a place where, no, they're profitable, things are going well, they want that freedom, right? So they're willing to spend on it. So yeah. And that's okay. I guess the whole thing is, it's like, this is fun. This should be fun. Yeah. Looking at your money should be fun. It should not put a pit in your stomach, which I think often it might.
Well, and back to what you were talking about earlier, sometimes people won't get engaged in these processes over fear, like what they're going to find. But I find that most of the time when you do engage with it, even if things are worse than you thought, the fact that now and you can start to put a plan into place to fix it brings immediate relief to people.
Yes.
And they lay all the cards on the table that they've been holding. And it's like, most of the time it's not as bad as you think. First of all, that's most of the time that's what is true. But even if it's worse, they're like, oh, at least I know. At least I have taken that off my shoulders.
Yeah. So there's peace of mind, just knowing versus hiding or kind of holding all your cards close, like you said.
Yeah.
Super. All right. So number 1, you can be good with numbers. Number 2, if we clean up your systems, it gets a lot easier. And number 3, how did you phrase it? I'm trying to remember your words and I can't remember exactly.
You know more than you think
you know more than you think. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I was thinking you're smarter than you think you are. So you know more than you think. Okay, my friend. So let's get you closer to your numbers this year. Let's help you understand. I think it's understanding. When you understand what's going on, it always feels so much better. And it doesn't have to be hard. No matter who you are, you can be good at it. And yes, you still can have a bookkeeper and you need a CPA and all those things, but you as the business owner, this is a tool to help you make decisions that align with who you want to be in your business and what your business you want your business to look like. So this is all part of coaching, and I'm happy to help with it and have Nicole helping you too. So any final parting words? One great piece of advice?
Yeah, I think that the distinction to remember between bookkeeping and cash flow management, and which is YNAB is what we use for that, right? Is bookkeeping is always looking backwards and cash flow management is looking forwards. And so you really need both pieces to be successful as a business owner.
So true. The bookkeeping, the QuickBooks, it's all backwards.
Mm-hmm. And it's needed. It's necessary.
It's needed, right.
But we also have to look forward and be planning and projecting what's going to happen in the future as well.
And the future is bright. I love it. All right. You ready for my speed round of questions that have nothing to do with anything?
Oh my gosh.
It's really, it's fun. Okay, here we go. Tell me 3 things in your refrigerator.
Milk. I have small children. Wine. Lots of fruit.
Okay. 3 things in your car.
All mine are kid related. Wrappers.
Okay.
Water bottle, hand sanitizer.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And how do you want to be remembered by? So if someone said that Nicole, she was
kind and lived up to her word.
I love it. All right. That's it. Look, you got through the speed round.
Painless. Good.
Painless. And I get lots of people saying it's all about my kids in the car.
It's a hot mess is what it is.
Sometimes they, when I say name 3 things in your car, they're like, I don't know, because I don't go back in the back seat. I don't want to know what's back there.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. I'm going to have a link in the show notes to all the tools we talked about, because even just becoming familiar with YNAB, even if you don't want to use it, go just check it out, what it's all about. And there are some episodes that I've recorded previously specifically about it, and specifically about some of the, we'll call it YNAB rules that you can tap into on your own or with help. I always like help.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, my friends, I will see you next week. And remember, there now is your time to level up. There is no reason to wait any longer. Okay, my friends, what did you think of that? What were your biggest takeaways? Is money scary? Or could money be fun? I actually think money can be fun. If you have a little or a lot, it still can be fun if you think about it in that way. And it is a practice. Getting good with money, and I'm putting that in quotes, getting good with money, like air quotes, is something you need to practice, just like getting good at a sport or getting good at identifying patterns in your business. But as we start 2024, I think it's really appropriate to sit back and think about what is your relationship with your money, especially in your business. And if this is something that you need to work on, I want you to know that it's hard to work on it alone. It is hard to work on it alone, which is why I have this money mindset and money confidence coaching as part of my coaching program. I don't work on my own alone. I have a money coach in my arsenal of coaches. So that's why I want it to be an essential element of my coaching programs, included in the investment. I just include it. So if this is something you're interested in, I invite you to schedule a consult call. It is my invitation to you. I want to give you the opportunity to explore what this could do for you. What would be different if you had a coach, if you had a business coach, if you had a money coach, if you had a full focus coach, which is another thing that I offer out there? What would be different? So head over to Andrea's with an S, linkswithaNS.com, or you can go to any of my social media profiles or even to my website. That Andrea's links takes you there too, and schedule a consult call. Why not? If this is something you've been thinking about, I'm urging you to just bite the bullet and schedule the call. And we'll figure out if this is something you need. And if it's not, I'm going to be honest. And I might send you in a different direction. But come do a consult call with me. I've got a goal in February to do more consult calls than ever before in 1 month. And I want you to be one of those people. And I want you to have this money mindset that's going to take you places and show you what's possible. Okay, my friends, until next time, remember, now is the time to level up. There's never been a better time. Let's go.